Welcome to Underground Wealth Secrets, hosted by Julie Houston on behalf of Bob and Ed Diamond. This is your friendly guide on leveling up your business, achieving financial freedom, and changing people's lives. This is for serious players who want to surpass their current stage and move the needle further. Tune in to get practical advice and eye-opening stories of industry leaders across the nation, teaching you how to scale your business with a strong financial mindset and true to your core values. Let's get this discussion started with your one and only host, Julie Houston.
Hello, everyone. This is Julie Houston on behalf of Bob and Ed Diamond with UndergroundWealthSecrets.net podcast. And I am very, very honored and excited for our guest today, Kathy Kennebrook. Kathy, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, we've
You're
been
always
looking forward
fun
to having you.
I know you're always fun to do a podcast with.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Info packed.
We've done this a few times, huh?
Yeah, just a couple.
Well, honestly, I love Kathy. She's one of the top marketing ladies actually in the real estate space. But before we even dive into that, Kathy, do you want to give a little bit of your background for our viewers?
Yeah, sure. We've actually been in the real estate sector for a little over 20 some odd years now. Time has flown. So prior to real estate investing, I was in the financial sector. So I worked in banking and I worked in the barter industry. Decided I hated corporate America. I was working like 60 hours a week. I was never home. I was putting 100,000 miles a year on my vehicle. And at that point in time, my husband was also working for a national food distribution company. And he was working in what they called the freezer section. And yeah, so the poor guy was sick more than he was well. So we knew there had to be something else out there. We just didn't know what that was going to be. And so one night I was up late watching one of those late night infomercials on how to buy houses with no money down. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if that really worked? And so I actually called one of my customers, who actually was the person who ran our local real estate club in Tampa, Florida. I am from the west coast of Florida, as you know. And I said, hey, Mike, what do you think about this real estate investing stuff? Does it really work? And he goes, of course it does. Come to one of our meetings and make that determination for yourself. And so we started going to some meetings and we started going to some seminars. And the next thing you know, we bought our first house. And it was a subject to deal. Guy just deeded it to us for the balance of the mortgage. And we ended up making $51,000 on that deal. And I took a copy of the check to work the next day because my boss had been teasing me relentlessly. Have you done anything yet? Huh? That kind of stuff. So I took a copy of the check to work the next day and he said, "You're fired." And so that's how I got into real estate investing full time.
Wow.
And we started doing the direct mail because that was a really good way to start reaching sellers who would never get our message otherwise. That was one thing we had learned along the way, that if you could get a seller to contact you first, you were much more likely to make a better deal. And so after about another month of working by myself and getting direct mail campaigns out and dealing with seller responses, we had all of a sudden more responses coming in that I could handle on my own. And so I called my hubby at work one day and I said, "Hey, I need you to do me a big favor." And he said, "What?" I said, "Quit." He said, "Are you serious?" And I said, "Yeah, I can't do this by myself anymore." And so he gave his notice that day. And one of the things that we found very quickly is that you need to do something for your business every single day. And one of those needs to be very targeted, continuous, direct mail to very targeted sellers who would never receive your message in any other way. Since that time, we've done hundreds of deals. Another piece of advice I would give your folks is don't lock yourself into any one niche. If a deal comes at you and the deal makes sense, do the deal. So we've done, single family homes are our first love. Small apartment complexes are also a first love, but we've done single family homes, townhouses, condos, wobbly boxes. That's what we call mobile homes down here in Florida.
I'm not calling that here in Texas.
Urban commercial. So we do a little bit of everything. So if the deal makes sense to us, we do the deal, as long as there's money on the table and it's a win-win between us and that seller. And so that's kind of how we got started. And
Wow.
like I said, we've done hundreds of deals since then, whatever kind of deal comes our way. So we've never locked ourselves. People always ask me, are you a wholesaler, or do you just, do you wholesale, or do you just resale, or do you just, I do everything. It just depends on how the deal comes to me.
Wow. 20 years too. I didn't know that about your husband. You called him and said, I need you to quit your job.
He was actually 40 feet in the air at the time. And
Really?
and it was back in the day of the pager. So I paged him. So he had to climb all the way down and call me. So that was a good day for him.
I bet if my husband was like, I need you to quit your job, I'd be like, today? Really? Okay.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for investors that are starting or even seasoned, why do you feel that it's very important for them to develop a specific marketing strategy for their business?
Okay, because
especially like, not to go off of it, but especially in today's current market.
Oh, absolutely. Now more than ever, because I also hear that out in the field, there's no deals out there. You're not looking in the right place. There are deals out there to be made. And to be perfectly honest with you, the market is starting to soften, with the Fed raising the interest rates. And so if the market is softening, so now there are more sellers available and there are more properties available, and we're starting to see better deals being made, even in my own, working with the motivated sellers that I deal with. So it's really important to build a marketing strategy, because you want to have consistency in the deals that are coming across your desk. You always have to have leads coming in order to create the next deal. And you want to create like a marketing machine, basically. And you want to automate that as quickly as you can. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the more quickly you're able to automate your marketing and get deals coming in regularly, then you get to pick and choose the deals you want to do. And you have a lot more of them to pick from. And then again, of course, we're going to talk about this more later. One of the things that I use in my direct mail that no other guru out there to date does, which is stupid, is a response mechanism. So basically, if you don't tell your seller what you want them to do, they're not going to do anything at all. So you have to have this response mechanism in any kind of advertising that you're doing, whether it's direct mail or whether it's ads you're running. Give the seller multiple ways to contact you. Tell your seller exactly what it is you need from them, and then the deal's pre-screened when it hits your desk. So all of these are pieces to building a long-term marketing plan that will continue to have deals coming across your desk.
So since you do a targeted direct mail and you're having success with that, I know that's actually your expertise in using direct mail along with other techniques to locate highly motivated sellers.
Right.
Why is that? I'm curious, why is that?
Well, originally, if you really want the truth, hubby's not here, so I can tell the truth. I am a big, how opposites attract? Okay, so I'm like a big mouth, and I'm out there. I'm very extroverted. I'm always getting myself into stuff. And my husband is the other end of the spectrum. And so what we wanted to do was to make it more comfortable for him to deal with sellers. So if he already had, the letter from the seller, the response from the seller, and he already had most of the information that he needed, it made it a lot easier for him to deal with those sellers. Well, you know what happened? We found out that everybody else out there has the same problem or the same, difficulty with even seasoned investors love what I do because it's a lot more comfortable for them to deal with motivated sellers. And that's why we really started the direct mail. And one of the things that I've done is I've really perfected what we do, because I want you to use the least amount of marketing dollars to create the highest response. And so you're not out there. I mean, I know we've talked about this before, but even more garbage is hitting my desk every day. Oh my goodness. I told you that I got a letter from a guy wanting to buy my post office box. I mean, where'd he get a list? Seriously. So they're out there spending tons of dollars spouting garbage. Call me at this number, and that's all they give the person. They don't give them any information about who they are or what they do, or they don't give that seller multiple ways to contact them. That's really important. You have to give your seller multiple ways to contact you so that you're reaching them at whatever their comfort level is. So give them a phone number, fax number, email, mailing address, website if you have it. The more ways you give a seller to contact you, the more of them are going to. And so
do a lot of people use fax? I'm just curious.
So one of the things that you know about me is my degree is in finance, and I can't help myself. And we track everything. About 11% of my total response rate is still coming in by fax. And why do you think that is? Partly because these are older folks. That's the way they grew up. That's what they're accustomed to. I'm asking them for information, photographs of a property, and how else are they going to get that to me? It's either going to be email, mail, or fax, you see. And so by the time the deals come across my desk, in 90% of the cases, I've got photographs, of the property.
I honestly can say that I haven't really even spoken to an investor recently, or even in the recent past, that would even consider or thought of using a fax machine.
I know. When I'm in a room and I'm speaking and I say the word fax, they all go, what? It's okay. So if you're dealing with partly a senior group of folks, fax numbers are free. It's a 800 number. It's a program in your computer. The faxes come to your computer. If you're not paying anything for it, you're giving a seller another way to contact you. Why would you not? That's just dumb, because everybody is so techy these days that they forget about everyone, that they've narrowed their field to a very narrow seller, and you shouldn't do that. The wider a field you're marketing to, the more deals you're going to make.
That makes sense.
And, and until that number becomes like 2, I'm going to continue to use that fax number. It's free. It costs me nothing. So,
yeah. No, that's brilliant. That alone is like something I know most people don't even utilize. So, yeah, no, for sure. So I understand that you've developed niche markets that you like to target. What types of motivated sellers do you target, and why?
Okay. So for example, I like out-of-state owners. I'm an out-of-area owner myself. I get it. Senior homeowners, which we just talked about, expired listings. I work with attorneys. We work with military. So there's a lot of, the military market is a market. If you live near a military base, that's a way to make a huge amount of money in real estate investing. We actually discovered that particular niche when my son was stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And what happened was we were out on base and our vehicle was wrecked. We buy houses and the whole 9 yards. And by the time we'd shut off all the phones because we were visiting the kids and stuff. And so we got home and there were 3 messages on the phone from folks who needed to get a home sold. Because what happens is these folks are wooed into the military for, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever that might be. They're told, you're going to be stationed here. So they end up stationed wherever they're stationed. They bring their family. They purchase a home off base. They use their VA certificate. They buy that home. They pay pretty much full retail for it. And 6 months later, they get transferred somewhere else. Now they have a home and a mortgage that they neither want nor need. And they're stuck between a rock and a hard place because they just paid pretty much full retail. They can't afford to write a check for realtor fees and closing costs again. So they're stuck. So these are an ideal situation for someone to simply have a home deeded to them for the balance of the mortgage. We've done a ton of these deals. I still own properties in North Carolina. And so what ends up happening is that working with the military is like working with Section 8 on steroids. The military helps you to find the person to go into your property. Military takes the money for their rent out of their paycheck biweekly, and they deposit it into your checking account once a month.
Really?
If they destroy your property, guess who they have to answer to?
The military.
Their superior officer. Absolutely.
I did not know
Yes,
that.
ma'am. Oh, those are killer deals. Really killer
I
deals.
had no idea. I never
Yeah.
even thought of that.
So that's one of the niches that we really, really like. And we always have. And so when I work with my students throughout the country who live near military bases, that's one of the direct mail campaigns I really want them to get started with. We also work with attorneys who bring us deals. We created a direct mail campaign. We mail out like 40 or 50 pieces at a time to specific types of attorneys who are more, likely to be working with us. Estate planning, probate, bankruptcy, those types of attorneys. We mail the direct mail out to the attorneys. We wait for their response. If we don't hear from them, we call them. And the first time I did that direct mail campaign, I created relationships with 4 attorneys who still bring us deals today. We're talking 14 years ago. And they still bring us deals today, because if you're a person of integrity and you do what you say you're going to do, when the attorney has a client come to them who needs to sell a property quickly, no matter what condition it's in order for the attorney to liquidate assets, they're going to call you first. And so that's a whole nother niche that we have created. And I can't tell you how many private lenders I've gotten from my attorney.
Really?
Because they know people who have money they need to invest. If you're a person of integrity, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And so that's another really good result we've had from working with attorneys, is we've created relationships with other private lenders. So that's cool too.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's definitely huge.
Yeah. Okay. So folks that are being like transferred out of state, quit claim deeds, of course, because a property gets quit claimed for a lot of reasons. Like, for example, and people don't think about this. You see, I'm always thinking about what the other investors aren't doing. So for example, with a quit claim deed, he gets married, the couple gets married. He owns a home, she owns a home, and now they're going to sell one or both of those and buy one of their very own. But in the interim, they have each deeded the other person onto that property via a quitclaim deed. So that's another really good way to find deals. And then, of course, we find a lot of estate and probate properties through the quitclaim deed mailing as well. So that's another really good one. So basically, the system that I use, my marketing system, consists of 12 different direct mail campaigns that each have a very specific targeted letter that goes to a very specific target market. And then within each one of those, we use very targeted lists. And then within each list, we hone it in even further to reach the most highly qualified seller in that group. So that's why our mail campaigns are so effective.
So you have a really pretty unique way of your marketing and how your direct mail system is, and your marketing methods per niche. I'm
Absolutely.
seeing.
Right. Absolutely. And we have companies that'll do all the direct mail campaigns for them. So the more you get your hands off of stuff, the more money you're going to make. And so what I basically do is, as a resource with my system, I give them companies that'll do as few as 25 letters a week or a month, up to 500 or 1,000 letters a week or a month. For
Nice.
Yeah. So
very nice.
Yeah, the more you can get the work into somebody else's hands, the more money you're going to make.
So I have a question. I know some of our folks might be wondering about it. Where do you get your lists from that you use to mail?
Okay, several different ways to get the lists. Okay, so one way that you can get the lists is you can go to your property appraiser's office or assessor's office, depending on where you live. It's called something different. Here it's the property appraiser. In North Carolina, for example, it's the assessor's office. And you can get them to create the list for you based on the specific criteria that I use to do each of my direct mail campaigns. And they're very inexpensive to get. And you can get them either as a paper list or on a disc, basically. In a lot of states, you can go to your computer and do it yourself. And I have students that do that. I can do it here. So you go into the property appraiser website, and it gives you an area where the lists are, and then it gives you a place to put the criteria in, and you just print them out yourself. So that's one way. We also can use list brokers, and I provide resources for my students for list brokers for each of the direct mail campaigns, no matter where they live across the country and across Canada. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Even into Canada.
Oh, yes, ma'am. All the way.
So are there any other marketing methods that you're using to attract motivated sellers?
Absolutely. One of my favorites, except if I'm busy and I need to get in and out of a store, is apparel. T-shirts, caps, we've used pins, that kind of stuff. I love apparel. We use signage, and I could do a whole seminar just on signage and stuff that people are not thinking about. So, for example, if there are properties that we really like, we'll put in a particular subdivision. We put signs at each entrance to that subdivision. We work like with car dealerships and car washes and stuff like that, and put signage on their properties. At the car dealerships, we'll put a banner like on their front fence. And then, and we pay them a referral fee if we get a deal. Same thing with the car wash. I pay him a referral fee if I get a deal. So there are so many really unique things that we do, and lots of them are free. Another thing that I like to do are like the flyers that would go like on a pizza box. Okay, so you get your pizza box, and then there's like a flyer, and on the top is like the menu, and then you open it up and there's ads. So the way that I do that is I will take a 4-page ad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, folded in half, like a folded in half piece of paper. Front is the menu for the restaurant. The second page is my ad, and I have sold the other 2 pages to other businesses. So my ad becomes free. So we're printing these flyers. They go on the pizza boxes. They go out to hundreds of people, and my ad is free. And so I work with my students with all these really unique ways to find sellers that people just aren't thinking about.
So that's pretty creative. The pizza box. You had me at car dealership. I was like, I have never thought to have a sign made for a car dealership.
And oddly enough, I've gotten a ton of deals from the car washes. I don't know why. But think about it. So you have, so here's the lane going into the car wash, and you're sitting there waiting. And if you're not on your cell phone, you're like looking around. And what we do is we have a sign on either side. So there's 2 lanes going into the car wash. We have a sign on this side, a sign on this side. And so they see our signage as they're going into the car wash. And we've gotten several calls from the car washes, and I don't know why. We do flyers in anywhere that we can find public boards. And so one of the ones I really like are laundromats. Again, don't know why we get a ton of leads from laundromats. Storage units, that one I get. So generally, when you walk into the office of a storage unit, they have like a public board right there. And so we do a nice size nice size ad with pull tabs. And of course, if you're putting your stuff in storage, you're either moving out of or moving into. And so that's another
very true.
So that's another really good source of leads for us. So I'm always thinking of the things that other investors are simply just not doing.
Yeah, that's definitely outside the box.
Yeah.
You really do have some pretty unique processes. And I know that your system's pretty extensive. What is all included with your systems?
Okay, so there are 12 different direct mail campaigns, including all the letters, all the resources. All of that is on USB for them. We just revamped the entire system like 6 months ago. So I did a bunch of rewrites, and we put everything on USB, not the system, but all like the resources, the letters, all of the where to find the list brokers, and where to get discounted pricing, like on all of your apparel items and your signage and your business cards and all of that stuff. So all of that is on USB. And so that's really cool. I was really excited when we did that. So I include the 12 direct mail campaigns. I include 24 additional marketing techniques and samples of all of them. They also get 12 months of consulting with me directly. I don't pawn them off on anybody else. That's
huge.
like a $5,000 bonus by itself. Seriously.
That's huge.
They can email me any marketing question that they have for a full year, and nobody else does that. And so that's,
I haven't seen anyone else that does
no,
that.
no, and they don't. And I really like supporting my students. That's half the fun. And we've done a super special price for you guys, for your guys. My system is normally $1,697. So we're offering $1,197 for your folk on the call. So on the podcast. So that's something that we're doing super special, because you and I have a super good history together.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
and
that's
I believe we're going to have that information at undergroundwealthsecrets.net/magic marketing. And everything that kind of Kathy and I reviewed is just now is going to be all in that link to review everything.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, so I like to do the things that nobody else thinks about.
I mean, I'm still stuck on the car lot. I'm like, there's so many all over, and even the car wash. It's like,
yeah, I mean, like the buy here, pay here car lots, those kind, and so you see those on main roads, and then they'll have like a gate in the front because they've closed their gates at night. So they'll put a banner on their fence, and then anytime we get a referral from them, we will pay them a referral fee. And we do that. I mean, you only have to pay for the banner once to get continuous leads coming in. And it's the same thing like with the direct mail campaigns that we do to the attorneys. We create that relationship one time, and it just continues to spit out leads. And so that's kind of the sort of thing I like, is something I do one time, and then it just spits out leads. Of course, we pay people to keep our signage on their vehicles. That's a normal, that a lot of people do. And we've gone more to vinyls now. We're not doing like the stick them on there anymore. The magnetics like we used to do in the old days. Now everything's vinyl.
That's what I have, the magnetics.
Yeah, so it doesn't damage somebody's car. I've actually got a fella that and we pay them monthly to keep the signage on the car, and then they also get an additional bonus if we buy a house from their vehicle. And I've actually got one fella who lives in a condo. He pulls into the condo, takes the vinyls off because he's not allowed to have advertising on his car. That's part of the association thing. And then in the morning when he leaves, he puts them back on.
Nice.
So yeah, so we got people really working for us.
That is, he's definitely in to win it for sure.
Yeah.
I just gotta ask this. So what's like maybe the craziest deal or most challenging deal you ever got through maybe the car wash or something?
Most challenging deal would have to be the monkey house.
The monkey house.
The monkey house. And anybody who's heard me speak anywhere knows about the monkey house. So we did a deal with a lady, and she actually got 3 different letters from us because she fell on 3 different lists. She fell on the out-of-state owner, she fell on into the divorce, and the expired listing mailing. So she got 3 different letters from us because she wound up on 3 different lists. So she calls us on the phone. House had been on the market, was as an expired listing, had been on the market for over a year, had not sold. She actually called us on the phone, which people don't generally do. 90% of my sellers don't pick up a phone and call me. They send it in writing. So she calls us on the phone. She mails us the keys to the house. She doesn't know me from squat. Is this a motivated seller? Obviously.
Yeah.
So she mails us the keys. Well, she had been raising capuchin monkeys in the house, and they were supposed to be like therapy monkeys. Not so much. Anyway, so she mails us the keys. We go over to the house. We open up the front door, and there's like 2 inches of monkey poop everywhere. So what do you think monkey poop smells like after about 12 months? It smells like money. It smells just like cash. It does. It smells just like cash. We ended up buying that house for $225,000. It was worth $450,000. We did about $75,000 of rehab to that property. Now, the best part of this deal was the closing. about 2 weeks before the
Mhm.
closing, she calls me on the phone and she says, I'm coming down early. I'm coming down about 2 weeks before the closing. And so I want to take some of the furniture back to Indiana with me. Ew. So fine. And I'm bringing a couple of the monkeys with me. So the lady at the title company calls me on the phone and she goes, Kathy, ain't no way the seller's bringing no monkeys till my closing. And I said, not to worry, I'll take care of it. So the seller says, no problem. We'll just leave the monkeys in the house. It will go to the closing. And then after the closing, I'll pick up my monkeys. I'll give you the keys and that'll be it. Well, best laid plans of mice and men didn't quite work out that way. So we go to the closing. Everything goes fine. We go back to the house. She's brought 2 monkeys with her. One is about 3 years old and he's about 3 feet tall. And he's got like these fangs and red yuck. And then she has this baby monkey that's like 4 months old, like with a little diaper and a little t-shirt and everything. And so we go back to the house and she gets the big monkey. His name was Rambo. So she goes in the house and she gets Rambo and she clicks his little leash on him and she brings him out. She's got this big Penske truck and then she's got a big cage in there for the monkeys. So she puts Rambo in the cage, closes the cage, goes back in the house, gets Ryland. Ryland was the baby monkey. He was like 4 months old. And so she brings Ryland out. If I was like, God, we're going to have a monkey, he'd have to stay like 4 months old. He was so cute. Anyway, so she brings Ryland out with his little diaper and his little t-shirt and she puts him in the cage. Well, right about then, Rambo decides he's not having any part of it and gone monkey. So he
ran away.
Yeah, he's going through people's yards, jumping fences. So the seller, her son, my husband, and me chasing this stupid monkey all through the neighborhood, through people's yards, in their pool cages, all of that. And now, mind you, this house is really close to where I live. And I live like a half a mile from a major preserve. That monkey gets to the preserve, it's over.
Yeah.
She'll never get him back. So he's booking down the road and he's on his way on this main road that goes to the preserve. So everybody's chasing this stupid monkey. And so right about that, there's a car coming in the other direction. You can't make this stuff up. The car coming in the other direction and he's got these thumper speakers like boom, 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 big bassy. And so he thinks this is the funniest thing he's ever seen. So he pulls his car over and he opens the door and grabs his iPhone. Well, right about then, for some reason, the monkey jumps in the car. And then the seller jumps in the car. Kid you not, can't make this up. So she finally got her monkey back.
Holy crow.
So that would probably be, my most contentious deal.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
We made $85,000 on that deal, so it all turned out fine.
I guess it was worth chasing that monkey.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we actually had to hire a professional company to come out and sanitize the house from top to bottom before we could ever.
Oh, I bet.
A rehab crew in there to do anything. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole house. Mind you, this is a $450,000 gorgeous house in a nice neighborhood. And she has like jungle wallpaper on every wall in the house, bathrooms, everything, the whole house, like it was all for the monkeys.
Wow.
Yeah. She actually had one room that was floor to ceiling cages. The whole entire room was cages, floor to ceiling. And so I called a rescue because we have cats and we like cats. And so I called a rescue that we work with a lot. They were over there in 15 minutes to come and get those cages. So that was a really nice donation that we made out of the deal too.
That's nice. Yeah, that is a positive that came out of it.
But so that's the monkey house.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I've never heard that story.
Oh, well,
it was a good one.
Yeah, that's one that I like to bring when I'm speaking out because it's just, and I have pictures and everything. And I actually have video, but I've got like pictures of the one monkey when the inspection service came, they popped popcorn in the microwave to make sure the microwave was working because it was like a built-in. And so my husband, or the inspector, handed the bag to my husband, and the monkeys just crawled right up him to get the popcorn away from him.
Oh, wow.
I got pictures.
Yes, I'll have to see them one day. So, I want to thank you, Kathy, again for being here today on Underground Wealth Secrets. Again, for our viewers, for more information about everything that Kathy and I discussed today, you can go to undergroundwealthsecrets.net/marketing magic.
Cool.
And
Well, I appreciate your having me on the podcast. Tell Bob I said hi. I haven't seen him in a while.
I sure will. Thank you for being on. It's been such an honor having you here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Underground Wealth Secrets. May these nuggets of wisdom lead you to finally discovering your true potential. Become one of the most reliable businesses out there that's dedicated both to filling up your bank accounts and leaving a positive impact on your community. Get more informative and engaging conversations like this one at undergroundwealthsecrets.net. Don't forget to leave a positive rating and share with your friends. That's all for now. Until next time.